Hello everybody and welcome to the show. This is Andy's Shed Live, Series 16, Episode number 12 for Sunday the 13th of October 2024. Hello everybody, a slightly shorter show than normal tonight. Got a lot to pack into it, including something that I never thought I'd be doing. I'd be breaking this or showing this because it's the sort of thing that happens in movies and doesn't happen to you, but it's happened to me today. Right? Hands up who believes in UFOs. Right? One has been on TV live today across the world. I will show you, and nobody is talking about it. I will show you the footage of it in just a few moments time. Do not go anywhere because I thoroughly suspect this footage will disappear quite quickly. But for now, we will say hello to all the people who are with us in the chat. We've got Christopher here, we've got Wesley here, we've got Dominic here, Christopher says he's moving next week, so he won't be on the chat. Dominic's on the move as well. Going for Thorn or Hatfield, he is near Doncaster. He's in the process of viewing places, so that's and enjoy the move, Dominic. Neville's here as well. Hi, Neville. Right, so before we get into the telephone stuff, I must do this. I've got this queued up and everything on the system to show you this. If any of you follow spaceflight, you may be aware that SpaceX launched their Starship rocket today for another test flight, what they call IFT-5, Integrated Flight Test 5, which went up today just after 1 o'clock our time, about 1 o'clock, half past 1 our time. It was around about 25 past 7 in the morning, local time in Boca Chica, Texas, where it took off from. Now, Starship is amazing because it's the world's largest rocket, but it is actually a fairly traditional rocket, apart from the fact it comes back. It's made of two stages, a super heavy booster and the actual Starship vehicle itself, which is mounted on top. So they both go up into space, they separate, the Starship vehicle goes further to go and do its mission or whatever, and the booster comes back and lands pretty much like SpaceX land their smaller rockets back at the launch site, but this one is caught by a tower, what they call Mechazilla. It's caught by massive mechanical arms on a tower. If you've not seen it done, watch the footage back from today. But we're not really interested in that. We're interested in the bit that all the people who streamed the event live, and there were various YouTubers and TV stations that put it out live, all the footage that I've seen has captured this UFO, and nobody is talking about it. Nobody mentioned it either on the live stream or anything, and it is absolutely plain to see. So what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and show you this footage if I possibly can, and I will show you what happens. Now I've got to get this right, so I can play you the audio as well. So hopefully I will be able to play you the audio on this. So here it is. Now, this was streamed by various YouTubers and television stations. One of the YouTubers who streamed it was a guy called Tim Dodd, who is known as the Everyday Astronaut. He's got a brilliant channel out there on YouTube. Go and look at Tim's channel. It is fantastic. I'll tell you what I'm going to do before I do anything else. I'm going to stop that clock a minute because it's rather noisy. There we go. I've stopped the clock. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you this footage back. Now, we're going to start at the point where the ship and the Super Heavy booster are still connected together. They've taken off from Boca Chica in Texas. They are still connected together. You're going to see a split screen at one point. On the left will be a picture that was provided for Everyday Astronaut by a guy called Ryan, who is known as Cosmic Perspective, has a YouTube channel as well. But they work together with Everyday Astronaut to get their own pictures using super long lenses of these rockets going up to and coming back from space. On the left you will see their footage. On the right you will see SpaceX's own feed. So on the right will be SpaceX's own feed from their own cameras. Watch it really carefully when the rocket starts coming back. So here it is. This was on Tim Dodd's Everyday Astronaut live stream today.
Really good word soon too. All right.
Come on. Oh, I want to see the tower.
Still see it up behind me. That is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life. Coming up on hot staging next.
Ship engine startup.
So look on the left-hand orange box. The two things have just separated.
Separation confirmed.
Oh my God. Ryan's had
Ship under its own power. I'm seeing 6 out of 6 Raptors lit. Hopefully I got a booster on the way back to me. I'm going to send it to you guys in Hawthorne.
Oh man.
So the commentary you're hearing is SpaceX's official commentary. That is Tim Dodd, the unofficial commentator, up on the top right, the Everyday Astronaut. Now on the left of the screen now, you are seeing Tim's imagery,
now making its way
or Ryan's rather.
The launch site.
On the right, you are seeing the live feed from
the booster
SpaceX.
and the tower are both performing automated checks to make sure we are go for the booster
So
to
you're getting
return
them
to the
both
launch
there.
pad for that catch. And once those are complete, the flight director.
Now what you're going to be looking for is a metallic, silver-looking round object. And guess what? It's frozen. How can that be a thing?
Under full power.
Right, we've got it going again.
Once
and
again,
there
the
it is.
ship-
Now,
the
do
booster
you see
is making
that?
its way back to the launch.
Do you see that on the left-hand camera there? Can you see that? There's something. It's obviously in front of the plume from the booster because you can see it clearly. It's illuminated by the booster and the bit of light there was early in the morning as well. It is round. It looks metallic, it looks silver or grey, and it is right there. Now let's carry on.
launch site. We are going to try and catch it using the chopsticks on the launch tower, the exact same tower that it just launched from just, wow, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and the booster.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, I can confirm the command was sent for the booster to come back.
I'm
That is
shaking.
incredible.
This
Looking
is,
up right now. It's pretty much right overhead of us,
And
we
now
can
you
see
can
it
see
starting
it
to
on the
come
right
back.
hand, on the actual SpaceX
this
feed
on the
now.
left, that is
I
our
can't
tracking
wait for us to
footage.
hear
We've
the
had
sonic
continual
boom
tracking.
through Dan's mic.
Look at that.
That is going to be incredible. It was so cool to hear the liftoff.
And at that point,
and
it
so once
disappears.
again,
it goes out of the shot.
It's successful
It
on-time
goes too
liftoff
far
of
away
Starship Flight
at
5.
that point.
The ship.
But if we can go back, I'll try and show
We
you it
might hear
again.
some really good words soon too. All right.
Come on. Oh, I want to see
You
the
can
tower
still see
catch.
it up behind me. That is one of
So
the most
here it
gorgeous
is,
things
going
I've
up
ever seen
again.
in my entire life. Coming up on hot
There's the
staging next.
separation. The Super Heavy's turn to come back.
Ship engine
There's
startup.
most engines cut off.
Stage separation. Booster
Stage separation,
Startup.
hot stage separation confirmed.
Oh my god. Ryan has had continual
Ship under
tracking
its own
this entire
power.
time.
I'm seeing 6 out of 6 Raptors lit. Hopefully I got a booster on the way back to me. I'm going to send it to you guys in Hawthorne.
Oh man, that was absolutely incredible. I loved how the
Ship chamber pressure is nominal.
crowd here in Hawthorne all went ooh at that first view of the blue flames from the booster. As you can see there, first stage currently performing, is now making its way back to the launch
Shut
site,
down
and
now.
we are.
Ship avionics power and telemetry nominal.
The booster and the tower are both performing automated checks to make sure we are go for the booster to return to the launch pad for that catch. And once those are complete, the flight director.
boost back burn shutdown.
So there it is. I've just stopped it a minute there. So there's the booster. Watch now.
Flight directors go for booster return.
What was that? What was that?
We are go for catch.
And in order to.
Guys, we should just be at about.
Right, I'm having problems.
We are go for catch.
I'm having problems getting this now.
The
because
booster and the tower are both performing automated.
Making its way back towards now land in order to make that catch attempt in the tower.
No way. They're going for it.
So incredible to see these
I have to
views.
play
You
it
can
back
see the
again
ship on the
because
right-hand side of your
YouTube
screen. All 6
it's
Raptor
stuttering
engines
and
are
it's not letting me
under
watch.
full power.
I'm guessing a lot of people are watching this bit. Now that there, right, if I could just skip back, like one frame there.
Making its way back towards now land in order to make that catch attempt in the tower.
No way. They're going for it.
So incredible to see these views. You can see the ship on the right-hand side of your screen. All 6
Get ready.
Raptor engines are under full power.
And there it is, and it appears to be. Well, it almost looks like it's coming out of the ship, but I think it's in front of it. But there it is. What is it? It's obviously smaller than the ship, than the booster, because it's in front of it now, because you can see the plume behind it, and it's not as wide as the booster. So it's not a ring off the booster or something. It's smaller than the booster. And then, unfortunately, they go to a wide shot, so the definition
Once again, the
disagree.
ship, excuse me, the booster.
but you can see it on
Booster
that
is
left-hand
making its
shot.
way back to the launch site. We are going to try and catch it using the chopsticks on the launch tower, the exact same tower that it just launched from just, wow,
And
5
there it
minutes
is
ago.
coming down.
Yeah, and the booster.
Oh my gosh.
Nominal
Guys,
trajectory.
I can confirm the command was sent for the booster to come back.
I'm
That is
shaking. Right now.
incredible.
This
Looking
is,
up right now, it's pretty
And it,
much right overhead of us,
and
and we
it's
can
now
see it starting
disappeared.
to come down.
Oh, there it is again, but it's now on the
this
right
on the
hand
left,
camera,
that is
which
our
is the
tracking
actual
footage. We've
SpaceX
had
screen.
continual tracking.
Through Dan's mic.
So there it is. There you have it. There you have the UFO. It sure is UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. Not saying it's alien, but it's UFO. It's unidentified, and nobody seems to be talking about it. So, what the hell is it? That is the question. What on earth is it? And nobody, it seems to be saying anything about it. Well, as I said, I'll be honest, it's not something that's making me feel convinced. Well, what is it? What is it? That's the question. What is it? That I saw that happen live this afternoon. What is it? Is my question, because I've got absolutely no clue what that is. So if anybody can tell me what that is, feel free. Neville says, what do you think it is, Andy? I think it is a UFO. Because if you search YouTube, others have been seen that look just like that around SpaceX's launches. And going back a good many years when Google Maps first came out, I saw an image, you know, one of these satellite images where they look down on your house sort of thing. Sometimes they do it from a satellite, sometimes they do it from an aeroplane flying over. But I saw one of these images looking down on some houses and some fields and things. Not a massive area, so it must have been either a very long lens or relatively low flying plane that took the picture. And there's a few wispy clouds that you're looking through to see the houses, and there's one of these silver balls above the wispy clouds in that picture on Google Maps. And it looked exactly like that, what I've seen on there today. So, what do you think it is? Neville says, I think it's part of the rocket that has broken. Why is it round then, Neville? You know, there isn't anything on that rocket that is spherical like that to break off. The only thing that is a sphere on those rockets is a fuel header tank, which is in the nose cone of the actual Starship, and the Starship's flown away by that point. It's the booster that's coming back. Nothing else, as far as I'm aware, is spherical on them, and that is definitely a sphere. I mean, I've watched it this afternoon on a massive TV. When I watched it live this afternoon, I was watching it on a massive Samsung flat screen TV, you know, almost the size of a cinema screen, and I was watching it in high definition, nearly 4K. I was watching it in this afternoon, and it's clear as day that it is round. People have said before it's ice breaking off and stuff like that. Well, if it's ice, you know, it's an uneven shape if it's a lump of ice. That was purely spherical, and you could see it. It's not just a light in the sky, it's got physical form. You can see it's got physical form. yeah. But I just wanted to show you that because I've seen stuff like that before, and the footage has vanished off YouTube a few days later. And because it was on live streams, not on actual YouTube videos, it would be very easy for those live streams to disappear. No, so not sure what it is, but it's definitely come out of the rocket. Do you think it's something to do with Area 51? I hadn't thought of that, Neville. I hadn't thought of that. It seems to come out of the rocket, doesn't it? It seems to come out of it. If you want to go and watch that back, by the way, it's on Everyday Astronaut's channel. There is also another channel called NASA Spaceflight who streamed the launch today. They've got similar but not identical footage because they put cameras at the side of where Everyday Astronaut put his cameras. So they've got slightly different views of it. It's on theirs as well. And it's on everybody who covered that launch. There's a lot of YouTubers covered it. Everybody that I've found who covered that launch with their own cameras has actually picked it up. So it's not an artifact in a camera because it's on lots of different cameras. Yeah, whatever it is, it's weird. Watch the skies. Watch the skies, because I've seen weird stuff like that before. I've seen UFOs and things with my own eyes right here, right outside this building, on numerous occasions. The only reason we don't normally see them is because most people don't go outside at night and look up. But if you went outside at night and looked up, you'd see them. When I had the previous dog to Thor, a dog called Pippa, who some of you will remember, she used to appear on these streams every now and again. Used to take her for a walk just up the road, a few hundred yards up the road, at 10 o'clock every night. And most of the year at 10 o'clock at night, of course, it's dark. And over the years that we had Pippa, I bet I must have seen 20 or 30 UFOs between that 10 o'clock and 10:30 at night that I was walking up the road. Neville says apparently they grow all kinds of mutants in Area 51. It could be anything that they have created. If the footage disappears, they want to hide something. Yeah, well, it might. But the thing is, I've now shown it and it's now embedded in this stream. So if the footage disappears, my footage has got to disappear as well, hasn't it? So let's see what happens. Because, yeah, I can tell you innumerable stories about footage that's disappeared. I can tell you innumerable stories about TV companies having the frighteners put on them. A little known government thing called a D notice. It's a thing that not many people have heard of. But do a Google search what a D notice is. It was kept very, very quiet until Charlie Brooker, on one of his first episodes of his fantastic Black Mirror show, he kind of brought D notices to public attention in an episode of that, and what D notices do to the media. But yeah, I just thought you'd like to see that. A bit of a diversion from what we normally do, but I thought I'll show it you, see what you think. So there you go, you've now seen it. Right. So we'll resume normal business now, shall we? Hello, welcome aboard if you've just joined us and wondering what the hell's going on. It's because today I saw a UFO. Not in person, I saw it with millions of other people on a YouTube feed. And technically it is UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. Until somebody can say, yeah, that's that, it remains unidentified, doesn't it? So it does remain a UFO. The question is, where did it come from? So yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw it this afternoon. I just sat there this afternoon and went, what the? But the amazing thing is, nobody on any of the streams mentioned it. Not Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, on his stream. He didn't mention it. He must have seen it, like we've all just seen it. You know, it's fairly obvious, isn't it, on the stream? He must have seen it, didn't mention it. The guys from NASA Spaceflight, NSF, from that YouTube channel, it's on there. They didn't mention it either. And normally if something falls off these rockets and that, they mention it. You know, they say, you know, something's gone wrong, something's fallen off, or something's caught fire. Nobody mentioned that. Do we think they've all been taken to one side and said, look, if there's anything unexplained in the sky, you mustn't mention it. Otherwise we will never let you put cameras here again, because they have special permission to put their cameras close to the launch site at Boca Chica. So I can imagine that somebody says to them, if there's anything weird on your stream, do not mention it, otherwise you won't be able to come and film another one, basically. Weird. Neville says, if it is ET, let him borrow one of your phones to call home. If that's ET, I don't think these phones will quite cut it to where he wants to call to. Although something very interesting I found out also today, and also kind of involving SpaceX, is in Florida, where they had the hurricane this week. SpaceX's Starlink has sort of been switched on to the mobile phone frequencies. So mobile phones, where they've had the hurricane, you can now send text messages with your mobile phone where you've got no mobile service because all the masts have been blown over and whatnot. You can send it via Starlink. You don't have to do anything to your phone. They've somehow altered your phone, so if you're on T-Mobile in Florida, apparently you can send text messages via Starlink. Now, I didn't know Starlink could do that. I didn't know that satellite could receive the signal from your mobile phone. Now, this says something to me. It says, if all of a sudden people in Florida can have their mobile phones connected to the Starlink satellite and can send a text to somebody else via Starlink, those satellites could have been listening to your mobile phone all the time. Strange, isn't it? So yeah, can satellites tap into your mobile phone? That is now my question, because it appears the answer will be yes. Right, talking of telephones. Oh crack, it's been a very strange week this week. Talking of telephones, there have been a couple of things this week. We've all gone a bit trim phone here this week. First up, an eBay purchase arrived. You may remember I said last week that there was going to be some phones arriving this week. Boy, was I right. An eBay purchase arrived with a couple of trim phones in, well, 3 bits of trim phones actually. And this handset, which was broken across there where they always break. So I have started the repair on this. It's a bit scrappy at the moment, the repair. It does need some more work doing on it, but I have started the repair there, as you can see, on this handset. And then a few days later, again during this week, I was contacted by a chap called Andrew, another Andrew. They're all called Andrew in the mobile phone, in the vintage telephone business. And he said, I've got a box full of phones you might like. Do you want to come and collect them? So I did. It's mainly 746s in the box. There is one 706, but also in the box was this, which is a 12 button push button trim phone. Now I don't need to tell you how unusual a 12 button trim phone is. I mean, they are around, they were a thing, and you can get them, but most are not. Most trim phones that have got buttons are only 10 button trim phones, and they tend to pack up because of the electronics in them, the electronics age, and they pack up. But these 12 button ones are better, and this one does actually work. I have actually used it. There was just a little bit of cord left on it. Somebody had cut the cord and there was just a little bit left on it of its original cord, because I think it's one that was sold because it's got the approved thing on the bottom of it, you see, from 1981. So I just put a plug on the end of the little bit of cord that's left, and then I used it in an extension lead, and it does work. What's interesting about this trim phone though is on the side it says it's from Derbyshire County Council. Look, supports nuclear free zone. This telephone is unsuitable for domestic installations. That's a total lie, because this is a domestic installation and it works. So yeah, so that's arrived this week. That, by the way, is blue. Okay, that is blue. That is what yellowing ABS does over the years. Because if I pick that up, you see it is that kind of grey blue colour under there where the light's not got at it. So yes, that is blue. So yeah, that's quite. That was quite a good find this week. So yeah, quite like that one. Gambo is with us. Hi, Gambo. Dominic says, "Oh, very interesting. What's interesting?" Wesley says, "I also had a 12-button trim phone in two-tone grey with the exact same marking on it. How spooky!" What, the Derbyshire County Council thing? Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? I think it probably came from county officers at Matlock, because the guy I got it from installs sort of fire alarm systems and stuff, so he deals with telephones on, he deals with telephone lines in big office buildings and stuff like that. And I'm guessing that's how he got them. So he probably found them in a skip round the back of county offices or somewhere. Gamo said, "Did you see the pics that I've emailed from Edinburgh?" I have had a quick look at them, Gambo. I'll try and find them out in a minute. Christopher says, "I've been building solar power with 12-volt battery backup of my 4G Wi-Fi router." Yeah, you need battery backup these days with your telephones. Now they're going to all this digital voice nonsense. Gambo says, "I've got a cream 12-button trim phone that I converted, and it works." Yeah, they do. The 12-button ones do work. It's the 10-button ones that don't. So yeah, Wesley's got a Derbyshire County Council trim phone as well. And yours a grey one, Wesley. That's interesting. He says, mine came from telephone lines in Cheltenham. Ah. You have paid for it then, Wesley. Christopher is on the move, of course. He says he's getting a 2-story house and already packed all his phones except for his red 746L. Crikey. When are you actually on the move then, Christopher? Are you actually on the move next week? Is that when it's happening? Blimey. Everybody's moving at the moment. It's very strange. Everybody's on the move. It must be the time of year for it or something. That everybody's going places. Yeah. So yeah. And we've finally got this clock back together. This clock's on this pile of papers here. Finally got this back together. Now you may remember this clock had a problem. It had this problem where this spring barrel had got a few it's not that one, it's not that barrel actually, but there was a spring barrel like this that had got a few missing teeth on it, and it was just slightly bigger than this one, so this one that I've got in my hand, it didn't fit as a replacement. But I have now got a replacement for it. The clock is back together and I'm just in the process of getting it set up, so hopefully that will be a project off the bench. Yes. So hopefully that will give me a bit more space for the next thing to come in that we are going to be doing. And I'm not sure what the next thing is going to be yet. It'll probably be trim phones, because as I say, we are currently working on this one, and what we're actually doing here is it was broken along there, so I'm doing the old acetone trick and trying to smooth it out. And all you do, for those who haven't seen this before, is, now you can do this with acetone slurry, which is acetone mixed with a spare bit of the plastic, but because it's a trim foam, it's a colour I haven't got any spare bits of plastic of, so I'm having to just put the acetone on the surface and work it around the area of the crack and sort of drag plastic from either side over the crack. In an attempt to smooth it all off. Which is actually not easy. So that's what we're trying to do with that. Just drag the plastic that's been melted by the acetone over the cracked area. So when it's dried, I should be able to just very lightly sand it down, and hopefully you'll not see the join. It's worse on this side, it's not even on this side. So there it is, and you just have to wait for it to dry. It's a game of patience really, this, because you do have to let it properly dry before you mess with it again. And the more patient you are, and the more times you go back to it and do a little bit more and let it dry again and go back and do a little bit more, the more times you do that, the better a result you can get in the end. But I'm fairly confident that we'll get this handset back. I'm particularly interested in getting this handset back because you cannot get spare trim phone handsets. They just don't come up as a spare. So I'm particularly keen to get this one back into use. Christopher says, I'm moving next week, he says. And he says, did you see the old Terminator 2 film poster I got? No, I've not seen that, Christopher. Arthur's with us. Hello, Arthur. He says, that clock looks almost as nice as my 1960s, 1970s West Clocks alarm clock. Yeah, I don't do little alarm clocks because they have a spring balance in them and they're really difficult to work on. It's beyond my pay grade, that is really. But it says his alarm clock is still working perfectly after over 50 years. That is good. That's what we like to hear. Yeah, there you go, you see. See, it's not flat at the moment. It is shiny though. If you get it in the right light, it's shiny, although it's not flat. See? I think this would be a really good way of doing water on a model railway. If you made your surface water out of ABS plastic, and then put some acetone on it, because it's just sort of uneven enough, it would look like ripples on the water in the light. I think it'd be a really good way to do water on a model railway. Christopher, I resent the photo of the film poster. Yeah, it might take it a while to get here though, Christopher, because my email goes a bit of a roundabout route sort of thing. But talking of email, shall we see if Gambo's has arrived? Because Gambo has sent some pictures. Let's have a little look, see if we can see if they're of a size where they will actually show. Where are we? I'm working on it. Phone boxes. In Edinburgh. Now when I went to Blackpool and we did the Blackpool live stream, one of the things that we discovered was sort of side entry telephone boxes, you know, where you sort of come at them from the side, where the door's on the side rather than on the front or back or whatever you want to call it. So instead of walking into the phone box and the phone is in front of you, you walked in and the phone was to the side of you, and I thought that was weird. But Gambo's found some more which I can hopefully try and show you without too much difficulty. Just bear with me 1 second. I've got to get this right now. Right, so here are the pictures of what Gamboa has found in Edinburgh. So it's found one without a door on at all, but that is a side entry box, you see, because the black thing there, look, has got the phone on it. So that is a side entry phone box, although it appears to have lost its door. That one. And here's another one that is similar by the looks of it, and yet another one, and then he's also found one that, although it's got no phone in it, it's got a couple of plug sockets in it. So what's going on there? Maybe you could charge your cell phone up or something from it. It might be something to do with BT decommissioning phone boxes, because when they decommission a phone box, isn't there a thing where there's a company that takes them on and you can have them as like other things, and they'll put an electric supply into it for you, and then you can like lease them as like kiosks for selling ice cream and stuff like that. So maybe that's what's happened there. That's there. Oh, I think they've probably used it as a cash machine. Oh no, because that one's a cash machine. Oh, it says cash on it. Appears to have been converted into a cash machine. That's weird. They put the cash machine in the door by the looks of it, so they put a door on that's not a door sort of thing, I would say. It's probably just a strong panel, but they've painted it to make it look like a door. It's quite clever what they've done, because they've probably not damaged the original phone box by doing that, just taking the door off, because what they've actually altered is the panel that would have been the door. So that's quite clever, that. And then there's a picture of the castle there, just to prove it was actually in Edinburgh. But yeah, quite good, some of those. But look at the state of them though. That one's not too bad. Crikey. Somebody needs to go up to Edinburgh with a paintbrush, I would say, fairly rapido. Gambo, do you want a job? Go and get your red paintbrush out and do a bit of sprucing up. I did once speak to somebody who walked down the street somewhere once. I think it was Holmfirth or somewhere like that. He walked down the road and leant on the phone box at the end of the road and pushed it over, and realised it was made out of fiberglass because they were filming something there and the phone box wasn't a real one. Yeah. Excellent spot, Gambo. And looks like there are quite a few of those old red phone boxes up there as well still. Quite a row of them there, aren't there? Brilliant. Excellent stuff. Very good. If you get one for Christmas, Gambo, you'll have to let us know. Because he was after one for Christmas. Arthur says side entrance telephone boxes were quite common. Were they? Until we went to Blackpool a couple of months back, I can't think that I'd ever seen one before. They were normally entrance on the opposite side to where the phone was, I thought, but there do appear to be some side entrance phone boxes around still. It makes it a bit difficult to get in though. Wesley says, that looks like an accident waiting to happen. The gland is not retaining the cable in the socket outlet. Looks like twin and earth too. Assuming the supply is still energized. Who knows, Wesley? Who knows? Arthur says, in Edinburgh they leased the old police boxes as small businesses, selling food, ice cream, newsagents, etc. Very good, some of them, he says. I watched a video on YouTube about it recently. Yeah, they do it with telephone boxes as well in various places. There is a company where you can, they sort of take over the phone box and refurbish it and put power and that into it, and then you lease the phone box off this company. Because I did look at doing it once many years ago, but they want so much money to lease a phone box, and it's got to be a very small business to fit in a phone box, hasn't it? Let's face it. Gambo says all these boxes run the Royal Mail. The Royal Mail. He says he counted about 7 in total. He's still asking for one for Christmas, but it's falling on deaf ears. Yeah, they're probably going to have problems wrapping it, Gambo. That's probably the thing. But yeah, if you get one, you'll have to let us know. We'll have to get you on the stream if you get one, and yeah, we'll do a live link up if you get one, if the internet's up to it, and yeah. But they're very cool, those. I like it. It's very good. Has Christopher's thing come through? No, it's not come through yet. Oh, it has now. He's got a Terminator 2. A Terminator 2. Film poster. Apparently, and here it is. Hang on, can't do it. Can I show you it? Yeah, there it is. Look, that's Christopher's Terminator 2 film poster. That is, it's got. Is it an original one, that, Christopher? Might be quite valuable, that, if it's an original one, not a repro one. Yeah, I've got some old film posters. There used to be a cinema near me that used to give them away. Unfortunately, it's closed down now. The old UCI 10 at Crystal Peaks, but they used to give posters away. And I got quite a few over a period of a few months when I realised that they were there for the taking. But most of them were for films that nobody's ever heard of again, sort of thing. But one that I was quite pleased to have got was for the Blair Witch Project. I did get one for the Blair Witch Project, which is on the wall in the loft. You know, when we do the things from the loft, it's on the wall in the loft up there. But yeah, because the original Blair Witch Project, not the rubbishy sequel that was made by somebody else, because that was all made by different people, the rubbishy sequel, and it's not very good. But the original Blair Witch Project is a really, really good scary movie. If you want to watch a movie for Halloween, I can highly recommend the Blair Witch Project, the original one. Right, hang on now, let me get rid of that. Right, where are we? Wesley says, I went to watch that when it was on the pictures. Was that Terminator 2 or the Blair Witch Project, Wesley? I think you probably mean Terminator 2, don't you? Yeah, I did as well. I can remember going to see that. Dominic says, I haven't seen the Terminator films. To be honest, you've not missed a great deal, Dominic. They're not the best. I mean, they're alright, but they're not the best. What was quite good in Terminator 2 was some very good special effects in Terminator 2, and some very dodgy ones as well. But there was a famous morphing through the bars thing that at the time was really, really hard to do. Now it would be easy, but at the time it was groundbreaking. Yeah, Wesley says you've not missed much, Dominic. Yeah. And Christopher says yes, the poster is original. Christopher says, you know that photo of a red telephone box I showed you a year ago on here that I found in Bendigo? Well, it's gone. It says, he went to Bendigo 2 months ago and he noticed it wasn't there. Oh dear, it'll have moved on somewhere, Christopher. It'll have gone elsewhere. Probably come back to Britain, the amount of money that they're fetching these days. It's probably worth importing them back from Australia to sell them. Because, yeah, they're just absolutely crazy money these days. You know, 2.5, 3 grand for an ordinary one, and if you want a fancy one of the earlier ones with the equal windows, 12 grand, something like that. I think the last one I saw was 12 grand. Yeah. And I don't think that included delivery or installation or anything. So yeah, it's crazy. Almost buy a house for less. Gambo says they used twins in Terminator 2, the security guard and Linda Hamilton, to save on effects. They used twins for security guard and Linda Hamilton. How did they do that then? Christopher says, I've got an original VCR of Terminator 2 from the 1990s. Is it on VHS, Christopher? Is it Betamax? Or is it something else? Dominic says, I quite like the K8 boxers from the 1960s. Yeah, that's the one with the big pane of glass in, isn't it, Dominic? Yeah, I quite like them as well. And there's surprisingly few of them still around, you know, because when these telephone boxes get listed at that, like they do in sort of certain city centres and things, they don't seem to list them if they're the K8 ones. But yeah, I do quite like them. Dominic says there's one at Worcester Shrub Hill on the platform, and there's a number in Hull. Are the ones in Hull cream ones? Are the KCOM ones, the ones in Hull? Yeah, very interesting very interesting company, KCOM, or Kingston Communications, as they were once known, as a private telephone operator, indeed Britain's only private telephone operator. Really, they were loyal to themselves, KCOM. They had all different equipment and that. They used to standardise on the Siemens horseshoe phone, of which I've got a couple. Quite a nice phone. They work well, but they feel horrible. They feel like a kid's plastic toy. They're too light, and they feel like a dog squeaky toy actually. They're so light and plasticky. They feel like you can squeeze them, and they like, yeah, just feel like a dog squeaky toy. Gambo says, when the Terminator copied the bodies, they used twins. I didn't know Linda had a twin. No, neither did I. Why did they not just green screen it, or flip it over, or double expose it or something? Linda Hamilton had a twin. No, never. Sure she didn't. Did she? There actually be two Linda Hamiltons in the world. Crikey. World's twice as good as I thought it was. Christopher says, I have found a red UK phone box that is still here. It's in a pub in Geelong in Australia. When the pub's open, it says, I'll go and get a photo of the red phone box. Dominic says, those K8s are all in the KCOM cream. Right. I'm going to Google it, because I didn't know Linda Hamilton had a twin. I'm going to have a look now and see if that's true. She did indeed. Her name's Leslie. Born September 26th, 1956. Good God, you feel old. She was born in 1956, 60, 70, 86. She'd been 30 in 1986. She'd been about 34, 35 then, when Terminator 2 was made. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, apparently. Leslie Hamilton Frears was the identical twin sister of Linda Hamilton and the maternal aunt of Dalton Abbott. Though professionally a nurse, not an actress, she appeared in 3 scenes in Terminator 2 Judgment Day as Linda's double. In her scenes, she played whichever Sarah is furthest from the camera view, while Linda played the main Sarah in focus. She appeared in the CPU reprogramming scene in The Mirror as Sarah Connor. Frears appeared in the scene at the garage when Sarah and John changed the Terminator's CPU chip from read only to read write, so that he could learn new skills. The mirror was in fact straight through to another set that was reversed, where Linda was on one side and Leslie on the other. Arnold was on the mirrored side and the Terminator dummy the other. A much extended version of this scene is featured in the special edition of the Terminator 2 Judgment Day DVD. Leslie also appeared in the Foundry scene as the T-1000 stroke Sarah Connor. Whenever both Sarah and the T-1000 disguised as Sarah are both visible in the shot, Frears is playing whichever is less in focus. In the dining area outside Cactus Jack's, she appears as Sarah Connor. It appears that Sarah is daydreaming while standing next to the car with John. She looks over to the table outside the gas station and pictures herself, played by Freyas, in the playground with young John and a second younger boy. Freyas was born and raised in Salisbury, Maryland. Alongside twin sister Linda, Freyas moved to Mount Laurel, New Jersey in the 1990s. She worked as an emergency room nurse. Imagine that, right? In the 1990s, if you got rushed into the emergency room and the nurse that came to look after you was Sarah Connor out of Terminator, you'd think you were hallucinating, wouldn't you? She worked as an emergency room nurse, later transitioning to a career as a hospice nurse. Freyas' sole film credit was Terminator 2. She attended the film's 1991 premiere with Linda. But Freyas passed away suddenly in 2020. She was survived by Linda, their other sister, brother and stepbrother, 3 children and 2 grandchildren. And she was 63 at the time of death in 2000, 63, 45, 66. So Linda Hamilton will be 67 now. My God, I feel old. Linda Hamilton out of Terminator is 67 years old. Oh my God, I feel old. I feel really old. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well, there's stuff you didn't know. But yeah, it is true. Her name was Leslie Hamilton Freyas. And it's on the Terminator.fandom.com website. Wow. Well, I didn't know that. You learn something new every day, don't you? Anyhow, I said it was going to be a shorter show than normal tonight because I've got to go and feed a cat for its owners who are on holiday. But we'll be back to normal hopefully next week. So watch out for us back here around about the same time, same place next week, all being well. Thanks to everybody for taking part in the chat and that once again. Remember, if you're new here and you like what you've seen and you want to keep the channel going, you can help a little bit by donating to us on Patreon. The Patreon address is here, www.patreon.com/AndysShed. And we also have a website, remember, it's andyshed.copress.net. But that is about it for this week. I will see you back here again, same time, same place next week-ish. Just before we go, Christopher says, I just sent a photo from Google Maps of the red phone box in Geelong. And Dominic says, I'll share some photos on the forum of my S16E12 Polaroid. Brilliant, yeah, do that. And I will see you all next week, everybody. Dominic says, have a great week all. I might not be back next week as travelling from Minehead. Minehead? Crikey. Yeah, well, we'll see you all when we see you. But I'll be here next week anyway. So from me, for now, have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you soon. And watch